You've seen this sphere on Men in Black, Iron Man, all kinds of other movies over the years. This is Flushing Meadows, New York. This was the site in 1964 of the World's Fair. It's the place that Walt Disney brought his Carousel of Progress. That carousel you can still see in Tomorrowland in Orlando. But today, it's the home of the Westminster Kennel Club Dog Show, the Olympics of the dog show world. And it's where Dr. Michael Woods has come to be a judge. So here we are, Westminster.
It's the big one.
It is. How do you feel? This is your first time.
It is my first time. I guess, excited.
Are you nervous?
I'm not really nervous. I've been doing this for 40 years, so I don't think I'd be nervous as much as excited about the whole thing. And it's a great opportunity because the best dogs in North America are probably going to be here.
Yes.
And so at a normal dog show, you'll see some not so good dogs, some good dogs, and maybe occasionally some great dogs. But here you're going to see a lot of great dogs.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Members of the Westminster Kennel Club welcome you to their 147th consecutive annual dog show.
You were an English professor.
I was.
How does an English professor become a world-renowned dog judge?
I don't know about the world-renowned part of it.
Well, I think when people are asking to go all over the world, that probably qualifies.
I've always loved animals, and so when I was young, we always had dogs. Then I thought maybe I would become a veterinarian because that would be a good option for me. And then I discovered that I really didn't like dead animals and formaldehyde and blood. So that would not have been a really good choice. So I decided that I would do the other thing that I loved, which was read books, and then do dogs where you didn't have to actually operate on them. So yeah, so I kind of combined both things, dogs and reading.
And you really did combine them because you've written a book about dogs.
Well, I've written a lot of articles about dogs, so yeah. I do combine them. I enjoyed writing, and I enjoyed dogs, so I did a lot of the writing, and then I also do a lot of seminars on Labradors, and again, all over the world.
So, why Labradors?
Why Labradors? Okay, we had 3 kids, so we were looking for a dog that would be a great family dog. I also liked hunting, so I wanted a dog that would do a little bit of hunting. And the Labradors, of course, were also a traditional dog from Newfoundland, which is where I'm originally from. So the Labradors for me were a kind of a pretty easy choice.
What makes a good Labrador?
I guess you have to define what you mean by good. Could be hunting, like they're good hunters, so you can take them out hunting. They're good in obedience, if you want to do obedience. They're good in shows if you want to show your dog. Anything you want to do with a lab, you can do. But the most important thing, the reason they've been pretty much the most popular dog in the world for the last 15 to 20 years, is that they are a phenomenal temperament animal. They just have really, really good temperaments, and that's the most important part about the Labrador.
How did you get from a love of dogs to interest in Labradors to then judging all kinds of breeds? That seems like, I don't see the natural progression there.
Well, it happened because I got a Labrador, and I did all the work that you should do when you get a dog. I went to a really good breeder. In fact, I brought the dog in from England. And at 6 months, the dog couldn't walk. And that was back in the 70s, and they didn't have all the operations that they have now, the same techniques. So the vet said, there's nothing we can do with this dog. You have to have him put down. And that was pretty traumatic. So then we decided that we'd go to England for a year and learn about Labradors. So then I went on for my judging license. And after I started judging labs, I decided, wow, I really like judging. So did a lot of other breeds. Started off with the work with the sporting dogs, with Labradors, Goldens, Chessies, most of the breeds that I did at Westminster. Had a great year, visited all the Labrador kennels, talked to all the Labrador people, went to a lot of the shows over there, and showed our dogs that we got over there. had 2 dogs that we brought back, all their health checked, all done before we brought them back. Turned out to be great dogs. Someone said, well, why don't you do some showing? We took the dogs to a show, and one of the dogs, the first show I put him in, he went best in show.
Wow.
So it was downhill after that. But
You gotta go.
he was really good. People said, well, why don't you judge a sweepstake? A sweepstake is a kind of a unofficial class that the dog can't get a championship out of that. It's usually for young dogs.
I was not expecting to find you two here in Flushing Meadows, New York. So, do tell.
So a few months ago, Lisa had said, why don't we think about going to Westminster? We've never been, or I've never been, and so that seed sprouted, and we decided about, I don't know, a month ago that we would come. Got tickets, organized the plane, organized the hotel, and came so that we could see the kind of the biggest show in North America. And watch some beautiful tollers, watch Aussies for Lisa. We were here for obedience and agility on Saturday. We were here yesterday for breeds and group judging. We're here today for breed and group and best in show. So
All the way from Nova Scotia.
all the way from Nova
Nova
Scotia.
Scotia.
So this is the best of the best.
It is the best of the best.
So you can't
exactly.
choose?
I have my favorites, but I think I'm sitting in dangerous territory to vocalize my opinion right now.
There's a lot of taller people in this
We're
area.
surrounded by all the taller people.
I know. We were talking to somebody earlier, and they referred to this as the Academy Awards of dogs, of dog shows.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I mean, I think it is like the Academy Awards because you have all the stars of the dog show world here. Within the dog world community, these dogs are really famous. I mean, they are like stars themselves, right? So it is, and it's the big event, just like, you know, the Academy Awards are the big event.
Judges are celebrities here too.
To be asked is a real honor, to be asked to come here. The judges really take second place to the dogs, but a lot of judges who are iconic in the dog game have judged here. And a lot of Canadians who are really famous in the dog world have judged here.
One of the reasons why we thought this would be a great year to come to is we heard that Dr. Woods was judging tollers and a number of other sporting breeds, and he's from our home community.
Yeah.
I don't live in Dartmouth anymore, but I did for 20-odd years, and it was really exciting to think that somebody from our area was going to be judging in such a prestigious show. We were very excited for him.
What does it mean to be here?
Well, I think my son maybe said what might be considered to perhaps be the ultimate comment on this. He said, gee, Dad, you finally reached your peak when you're 80. So I guess
because where do you go from here?
Yeah, I guess the only other show in the world that I think can compete with it is Crufts. And Crufts is a huge show too. But in North America, there's no doubt this is the show.
Crufts and Westminster. They're the bucket list destinations for dog show enthusiasts. Crufts was founded by Charles Cruft. Now, he was the general manager of a dog biscuit company and wanted to sell more dog treats. It's hosted in the United Kingdom each year and has billed itself as the greatest dog show in the world since its very first event in 1891. On this side of the pond is Westminster. It started in 1877, a few years before Crufts, and has always been held in New York. It's the second oldest continuously running sporting event in the United States, second only to the Kentucky Derby. It's televised internationally by Fox Sports and is known in dog circles as the Olympics of the dog conformation world. With the final prizes akin to the Oscars, it's difficult enough to compete here. It's something else entirely to be chosen as a judge. Have you done Crufts?
I have not, and I don't expect I ever will do it. But
And why is that?
myself and some of the Labrador people in England have not seen things on eye to eye.
Oh, you're not eye to eye. Okay, so it's more. Now that sort of thing seems to happen a lot in the dog world, doesn't it?
Yeah. Well, in this particular case, it was a subject dear to my heart, and that's that Labrador Retrievers are considered by the English Kennel Club to be their dog, but it's really a Canadian dog. It's one of our Canadian dogs, and so I've been kind of dealing with that situation because I'm a bit of a Labrador historian, so
Yes.
I'm not expecting the Labrador people over in England to say, "Oh, come on over and judge anytime soon." Although I've done shows in Ireland, but so that's about as close as the UK I think I'm going to get.
Because you've now been all over the world doing this.
Well, pretty much. There's some places I would have liked to go, but because of circumstances, I wasn't able to. Like, I would have always loved to go to South Africa. And I'd been invited twice, but because of circumstances, I couldn't go. But yeah, I've been to a lot of the Asian countries, a lot of South American countries, European countries, all over North America and Canada.
Now, not every dog gets birthday cake.
And there it goes, man.
Oh,
That's it. It's
that did not last. I love the fact that he now has blue icing all around his lips.
And he's gonna have a nice blue tongue for grips, so
Yeah.
it'll be great.
It'll be great. You know, maybe it'll be part of the breed standard now to be the blue tongue. Yeah.
I am Renee Rosamilia.
Well, happy birthday.
Thank you. Best birthday ever.
Yeah, I mean, it is not only your birthday here at Westminster, but you won something.
I did. We went breed with my Harrier.
Wow. So
Yeah,
now,
he's sleeping now.
how does that feel?
Amazing. Absolutely amazing.
Yeah, you seem surprised.
I'm very. This is like a dream come true.
Wow. So, what did it take to get here?
Oh, years of work. He has done really well. Harriers are not an easy breed, but I absolutely love them. We actually won over at Royal Canin too, and got a Group 3, and then we went to Crufts as well.
Oh, wow.
And
You've
we
been
were
everywhere.
best male there, so to come here was just like perfect.
Because this is kind of the show,
This
isn't
is
it?
the show to do it at.
Yeah. One of the things that surprised me was if I go to a confirmation show at home, nobody wants to talk to you while they're getting their dogs ready.
Right.
They don't want people near their dogs. They don't like, oh, they really are. Like, and so I expected that to be at a whole other level here, but it's actually the complete opposite. Like,
They want to be ambassadors. of
yeah, everybody's
their
talking
breeds,
about their dogs, and they're,
Yeah.
I'm sure they're nervous, but they're
Yeah.
still, it's different.
The show used to be benched, where they were required to have their dogs on display for the public to come and meet. It's not this year, but the grooming area you can go into and
Yeah, 'cause anybody can walk through.
anybody can
We have
open to
media
the
passes,
public.
of course, but
Yeah.
anybody could have walked through
yeah,
them, right?
Yeah. Yeah, and go and talk to the handlers, and sometimes it's when they're getting ready and they're not as interested. But when they're on some downtime, then they're happy to talk to you about their breed and what it's supposed to do, what's a good home for it, and what it needs to thrive.
Dog shows have always struck me as a little political, right? And I mean that in that, you know, everybody has their view on how things should be judged and what the rules are. Are there ethics rules around judges?
Oh
or-
yeah, there's an
So how
enormous
does
amount
that
of
work?
ethics. In fact, for I think 2 or 3 years, I wrote a column for Dogs in Canada on ethics and the dog fancy. So there are the Canadian Kennel Club puts down a whole set of ethics that we have that you have to really abide by if you're going to be a reputable judge. So, are there people as in every profession that aren't as ethical as one would like? Yes, but I think generally in dogs they're pretty minimal because you're sitting at ringside and you're looking at the judge, like as in Westminster. You're looking at what the person is doing and what dogs there are in the ring. And people that know the breed, if you put up a dog that just isn't worthy of being put up, they'll say, you know what, he put that up. And if you keep doing that over and over again, it means you're either a bad judge or you're doing something other than judging the dogs. Because the main criteria for dog judging is judge the dog. Forget who's got it, forget anything else about it. Look at the dog and say, I like this dog because of this, or I don't like it because of this and this. So there's a big ethical component to the dogs.
Judging is in there are rules, but there's a bit of subjectivity to it.
Yeah, to me, judging is a science and an art. It's a science because you have to know structure. You have to know what the bones are, where the muscle is. You have to know what makes the dog go. And movement is a big important part of looking at a dog and seeing, is this a good quality animal? So what we call in the dog game is having an eye for a dog. And you can help people by training them to be better judges, but you can't teach an eye. It's kind of like the basketball thing. You can't teach height. So you can help people to develop an eye if they have it. But if they have no eye for a dog, it's really hard.
One of the things I remember at Westminster was you didn't want to walk in the backstage area where people were getting their dogs ready and everything, because you felt that might give a sense of bias, or you'd see the judges, or you might see some of the dogs before they were in your ring. What are some of the other things that judges need to not do? Because obviously you want to go watch the shows too. You're interested in dogs, right? But where's the line of what you can and can't do at a show?
Well, one of the things, as you say, is you don't go into the grooming area where there are a lot of dogs and people that you know. Some of the other things are that if you meet a friend at the show, for example, you might say hello, how are you, but you don't spend 20 minutes speaking to that person or speaking to a professional handler. Again, if you've been judging a long time, you know all those people. So, I mean, it's only good manners, courtesy to say, hi, how are you? And that's where it ends. You don't.
That must be tough sometimes, too.
It is tough sometimes because some of these people you've known for 40 years, 50 years. But, I mean, after the show, then that's fine. You can do that, right?
Social time afterwards.
Yeah.
But they're beautiful dogs.
So do you think Dr. Woods is under a little bit of pressure from being a Nova Scotian?
No doubt.
I think there must be.
They were all telling me, they're like, oh, he's a Nova Scotian, he must know.
Yeah.
He must know tollers. Yeah.
Yeah.
He
Which
judged
of course
the
he
show.
does, but I mean.
Yeah. I like the way he judges. I like how he stands back and gets a visual picture of the whole dog.
Yeah, he has a style.
He does, yeah.
The dogs have all been very comfortable with him as well. I think he has a nice approach.
He's kind.
Soft hands,
Yeah.
kind hands on the dogs.
This used to be at Madison Square Garden.
It did.
And it's here now. And I mean, this is enormous. I mean, there are rings everywhere. Like, when I arrived, I kind of thought, okay, everything's going to be in here behind us where we see them setting up. But it's not. Like, there are rings all over the place. In fact, you're judging outside.
I'm judging outside. Generally, the bigger dogs get judged outside, and the smaller dogs get judged inside. But it's really quite good outside because the whole thing is covered. So even if it rains, the dogs are still going to be able to perform. I mean, as you saw, the rings are all matted, and so they're really good rings.
So one of the things so we walked around the grooming area, and I was fascinated by some of the things people do to make their dogs look really good in the ring and all that, which makes sense. But then as a judge, how do you work your way around that? Because you know that they're in there blow drying the dog or putting shaving cream in the fur to fluff it up or things like that.
Yeah, well, the rules that say that once you go in the ring, you can have no artificial substances in the coat. And if you do have them in, the dog is excused. So when you look at the dog, I mean, I've looked at dogs sometimes and I've taken my hands away and they've been brown. And you say, okay, we have a problem here. And then you have to deal with it, right? So the dog has to be excused. It never happened to me, but one judge was telling me that she opened the dog's mouth and the person had forgotten to take the retainers out. So she looked in the mouth, there was the retainers. So you really have to look at the handler's job is to make the dog look the best that it can.
Of course.
And your job is to find out what the real dog is and what the real dog looks like. So with a lot of the coated breeds, you really have to use your hands because you can't see. The coats look like poodles. I mean, poodles, they can groom the dog to look magnificent, but if you put your hands on the dog, you see that it doesn't have a good front, it doesn't have shoulders. withers are, too high, the front assembly is all wrong. Or dogs should have a wide head, not poodles, but you should have a wide head. You put your hands on the dog's head and there's nothing under the hair, but that's wrong for the breed. So you have to look at, your job is to find the true dog. The handler's job is to show you the best dog. Yeah. So you have to see if what you see is actually the reality.
In the ring, please. Number 7.
One of the things you got to do at Westminster was to judge the Brachy Italiano, which was the first time it ever appeared at Westminster. What was that like?
That was really interesting because
they were neat dogs.
Yeah, they were neat dogs, and I don't think a lot of people had seen that number of the breed before. And there's a big discrepancy in that breed in the sense of height. So there's like a 3 to 4 inch difference in the maximum and minimum height for dogs. And I think there was a great interest in this breed because it's a really, really old breed. I mean, it goes back to before the Renaissance. And so it's new to us, but it's been in Europe forever. So a lot of people here really like the breed, what they've seen so far. And I think it's a breed that is going to be pretty successful. In addition to good show dog, I think it's a really good hunter from people that I've been talking to that have hunted with it. Said it's a fantastic dog to hunt.
So it's just sort of made its appearance on the North American stage then, even though it's been around in Europe.
Yeah, exactly.
That's really interesting.
Yeah.
This old dog has suddenly got a resurgence, I guess, in the new world, so to speak.
Yeah. A lot of dogs, but Europe has a lot more breeds than we have, and there's some places that have breeds that we never see here, and we probably never will see.
Do you have other than Labrador, do you have a favorite breed?
I'm not really allowed to say. No, I am allowed to say. When you're judging, it doesn't matter if you like the breed or don't like the breed. Is this breed the standard, fits the standard? I like Frenchies, actually. Yeah. I haven't run into anybody that has a French Bulldog that hasn't said that they really enjoyed the dog. And I think it's a really nice breed.
I'm getting to see beautiful dogs, and we've met incredible people. Everywhere we've gone, we've met just amazing people. We met people yesterday from Winnipeg who were showing here, sitting ringside today watching the tollers. We met a lot of toller fancy folk. And
there are a lot of tollers here.
There was a lot of tollers. 16 tollers is a big entry. Yeah.
All right, your first experience.
It's been fantastic. Wonderful dogs, wonderful weather, wonderful show.
Was it everything you expected?
It was, and even better dogs.
What was the biggest surprise?
I don't know if there was a surprise, except that the quality was so even throughout so many breeds. There were so many quality dogs that made decisions really difficult and nitpicky. But when you have these quality dogs, you have to look at little things and do a little bit of nitpicking.
So how do you top this?
Live to be 100.
Well, you might get there.